It's basically a science fiction intrigue story taking place in the future. What had happened was there was a war with the alien race, and the war has gone cold for 20 years. And Earth Force, who was in charge of the defense, is now cutting out the people that were fighting, the main people that were fighting the war, and replacing them with lesser informed people. And the one guy they retired was the chief strategist of the organization. So he's gone basically into hiding on Earth. His people that he had in place are now being replaced, and they're searching for him. They finally find him, and now they have to go to the front lines out in space to basically fight the war out there. And it turns out that the alien race has left one piece of heavy equipment behind that nobody has seen before. And that's basically like a huge space cannon that fires meteors or meteorites at the different forts that Earth has put up in space. And it also cripples a cruise liner that wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. The main character is a guy by the name of Carl Craig, C-R-E-G-G. And he, growing up, the love of his life was the daughter of the best shipbuilder on the planet, be it a spaceship or something out on the water. When Carl Craig gets retired, he had made up a plan to go with her. She was going to build him a little boat to go out onto the oceans. They reconnect at that point. She stays his love interest, and she actually joins in the search for him later on. He leaves her at her place. She joins in the search. Once they reconnect, and are out on the forts in space, well, then he gets injured. And he's in sick bay in a coma. She's also in sick bay. She got hurt. So she's basically a cripple at this point. And the two of them in the end come together and eventually plan to get married.
I love that.
But he does help, he recovers enough to help with the defenses and to take out the alien weapon. The thing that brought me to this point was basically the first lines in the book. The war was over, the war that nobody wanted, the war that everybody said was coming. And that was my first thought on it. And from there, it just progressed. As I sat down to start writing it, the thoughts just came to me and I kept going with it. And then there was a second thought I had for another book. Being a child of the 60s and the early 70s, the disaster movies were big back then. The Poseidon Adventure, Earthquake, The Towering Inferno. Let's have a disaster book in space. And I was trying to come to terms with that and figure out how I was going to write that. And I said, let's just put it as part of this one. So it was like a sidebar in this one. The space cruiser goes out, he doesn't belong there, he's hit. People are dying, now we got to rescue the cruiser. So put the two of them together and made this one longer. When I was growing up, back in the early 1970s, I started writing stories then, basically just for my own entertainment. But then I stopped from the early 70s until about 2018, 2019. Life kind of got in the way. Did a little writing in the 1990s, but not too much, one or two stories. But then when I retired in 2019, I took it back up and my wife encouraged me to keep going.